So Alexa Nikolas is suing her creepy ex-husband, Mike Milosh. He started hitting on her when she was just 16 years old and eventually manipulated her into marrying him. If you guys don't know who Alexa Nikolas is, you may recognize her as Nicole Bristow from the show Zoe 101. We are big fans of Alexa over here on this channel. We've actually interviewed her in the past, so if you have not seen that, definitely go and check it out. But today we're going to talk about the current lawsuit between Alexa and her ex, Mike Milosh. If you guys don't know who Mike is, he is the lead singer of the band Rye. This man is from Canada, but he lives in LA, and he's been doing music for a long time. Actually, one of the reasons why he married Alexa was because he is from Canada and he couldn't tour in the United States unless he got a visa. He manipulated her into marrying him, and that's one of the reasons why they ultimately got married. We have talked about Mike before on my channel, and we have told some horrific stories from people who have shared that once upon a time, he had a girlfriend who was like cheating on him, and he decided to hook up with her and go down on her. And while he was doing that, he put hot sauce on her privates and burnt her. This man is an absolute creep, and there are so many horror stories about him. Definitely go and watch my previous videos, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Mike and his management company. So Red Light Management was founded in Charlottesville, Virginia, which isn't far from where I grew up, and they've got people like the Dave Matthews Band, Luke Bryant, a bunch of different people. As you can see, they have a long roster, and Rye is a part of their group. So the reason why I want to talk about Red Light Management is because Alexa has brought them up in her declaration. And before we dive into her declaration, I want to quickly revisit another lawsuit where Red Light Management was also in trouble. So if you guys didn't know, Base Nectar got in a ton of trouble for messing with young girls. And what's interesting about this lawsuit is that Red Light Management was also included in the lawsuit because they were part of helping Base Nectar secure these young women. And there are multiple people who joined this lawsuit against Base Nectar. They claim that he was human trafficking people, he was possessing and manufacturing CP, which is something we can't even talk about, inappropriate content of children. This man did a lot of disgusting things, and so did Mike Milosh. So let's talk a little bit about what Mike put Alexa through and what she's bringing to the judge. So Alexa has actually shared the declaration on her Instagram, and I'm going to walk through it with you guys today. It starts off by claiming that this is a case about a musician who preyed on the innocence of a minor fan to manipulate and coerce her into succumbing to his repeated SAs of her. They're calling out the record labels, management companies, and other corporate entities who enabled Mike and supported him financially to do this to Alexa because he had a lot of assistance. Then they go into the party section, and here they describe who Alexa is and who Mike is. They talk a little bit about Alexa's career in Hollywood. At 12 years old, she was working on Zoe 101. Then she was part of a television movie remake of Children of the Corn, and she spent a lot of time working. So they claim that she maybe, wasn't aware to the risks of, grooming and certain things that happen in Hollywood where creepazoids prey on these young girls. They start off with the fact that Alexa and Mike first started talking when she was just 16 years old. Keep in mind that he is 17 years older than her. She was actually playing a 14-year-old in that movie remake of Children of the Corn, and she sent a picture of herself pregnant to him, and he told her that he was attracted to that. A 16-year-old girl who's playing a pregnant 14-year-old. They claim upon gaining her trust, Mike used his status in the industry, authority, seniority, fame, and her trust to SA her. As a minor, she really had no idea what was going on in the situation. Mike was asking Alexa to undress on Skype and to send him inappropriate pictures. She was only 16 or 17 years old at the time, which makes him either 30 or 34. In one case, April 2009, Mike asked for inappropriate pictures of Alexa, and he said, All I can say is, oh my, this is very hot. Very hot. We have to meet pronto. She had just turned 17 2 weeks prior. Now we get into their first in-person interaction, because about 2 years after the emotional manipulation, the grooming, the SAs, Alexa finally agreed to meet Mike in person. At this point, she was 18 years old, but he had been manipulating her for years now, so she was in pretty deep. They go into graphic detail about a time where, well, okay, I guess Mike is really interested in stuff in the back door, if you know what I mean. Like, he likes to do like the butt stuff, and he did things to her that she was not consenting to, and that were harming her. I mean, he was hurting her, and she even told him, like, this hurt, but he ignored her. This relationship is already super toxic because he's been manipulating her ever since she was a young girl. Now he's got her in person, and he's starting to push her and make her do things she doesn't want to do to fulfill his desires. They write that Alexa recalls feeling unsafe and overwhelmed with fear. After Mike fell asleep, she snuck onto his laptop and emailed her friends telling them that she wanted to go home and was scared. Alexa ignored her own pain, discomfort, and instincts because she was conditioned to believe what Mike told her. Despite her fears under duress of manipulation, Alexa stayed with Mike for 2 weeks, most of the time under the influence of alcohol. They write that Mike would continue to supply Alexa with excessive amounts of alcohol, buying several 6-packs of beer and encouraging Alexa to drink a lot while he just has a few sips of a couple beers. Then back in 2010 or 2011, Mike actually recorded his interactions with Alexa and used snippets of it inside his music, because he would do things to her back door. She would say, no, I don't enjoy this. Then he would go and edit it and put it into his music. Like, evidence of him harming someone is being featured in his music. You don't think his management has any idea? And it wasn't his first time doing this, because he also recorded, I believe, some women in Japan when he was there, him doing things to them and then using it in his music. It is just so, and when you hear the clips, you're like, holy crap, this is actually disturbing and sick. There's a crazy email that's included in this declaration, and pretty much Mike tells Alexa that he finds unbelievable beauty in the idea that her childhood is gone through an intimate scene, her awakening into womanhood, and the sadness that she would never be the same. So he's got some crazy ideas for what, like a music video or something, where he's like taking the innocence from this girl, and he like is expressing how beautiful this is to Alexa. At all times, Mike knew that Alexa was a minor when he pursued her, encouraged her to undress, and had really inappropriate communications with her, had inappropriate pictures of her, and manipulated her into ultimately marrying him. Now, this is where management comes in, because back in 2011, his team met with Alexa and they were fully aware of what was going on here. At this time, they were, intimate with each other, but 90% of their encounters involved Mike crossing the line and doing things to her that she did not want him to do. I mean, how can you tell me his team had no idea when he writes a song titled Major Minor Love, clearly saying that he has major love for a minor? During the course of generating his business relationships, Mike flaunted Alexa to the record labels, bringing her to meetings and attempting to create leverage with her presence, and describing the start of their fraudulent relationship. Each of the record labels and managers knew and understood of the childhood essay that Mike put Alexa through, and the continuing manipulation and control that Mike had over Alexa. Despite such knowledge, a bunch of different business partners supported, enabled, and encouraged Mike by supporting him financially, promoting his music and popularity, and earning him additional leverage and control over Alexa. In early 2012, that's when Mike actually proposed to Alexa. And at this point, he needed a visa. So how convenient he gets to marry Alexa so that he can go on tour in America. At this point, she's only 19 years old. Like, 19 is too young to get married, kids. But she was in so deep with this guy, so manipulated. It's been years now. I mean, I feel like when you're like 16, 17, 18, like you start to figure out yourself, like what you like. And in your early 20s, you date around and you figure out like who you want to be with in your life. And she that was all taken away from her. Actually, at one of his album listening parties, they played that song where he recorded Alexa saying no and, not wanting his advances. And he played it for everyone proudly. They were listening to Alexa being coerced into doing something she did not want to do in the back door. And of course, Mike did not disclose to anyone that she was highly intoxicated and incapable of refusing his advances. Alexa's own mother was at this listening party and she was so disgusted she had to leave. Mike also had a reputation for flaunting nude photos of Alexa for others to see. In 2014, Alexa was done with this marriage and she expressed her desires to divorce. But supposedly Mike needed the marriage to last 3 years, so until March 2015. So he did not want to divorce her and he was not willing to end this marriage because he needs to have it for 3 years, guys. This is a fraudulent marriage. At this point, Mike was controlling all of the finances and Alexa left her acting career to support him. She was left powerless under his authority and control, and due to the years of psychological harm and manipulation, she lacked the emotional ability to leave the marriage. I mean, I can't even imagine what she was going through. Mike treated Alexa like his property, something he owned and could control versus being a human being. At one point, one of Alexa's friends was interested in being with Alexa, like a guy friend or something, and Mike was not having it. He actually sent an email to this person and wrote, "You should have thought a little longer on the position this puts her in. I pay for everything. I pay her rent, her car payments, I buy her food. If I do come to the conclusion that she was encouraging your feelings, do you think my response to her is going to be super laid back and cool? If this breaks up this little play you are making, how do you think this is really going to play out for her?" A very threatening email where he acknowledges that he does pretty much control her, own her, run her life, like she's not going anywhere because he's got the money. Here's where red light management is mentioned. They claim that they were heavily involved in their relationship in addition to supporting and enabling Mike's manipulation and control over Alexa. Now we're in 2015 and Mike is starting to get physical with Alexa. Mike charged at Alexa, picked her up, threw her on the couch, and pressed his forearm into her throat to the point where she could not breathe and continued to scream, "Shut the F up, shut the F up, shut the F up." They ended up going to a therapist and they wanted to start a divorce. And Alexa was prohibited from speaking directly to Mike and was only permitted to speak through Mike's management company, Red Light. So she's divorcing this man, yet she's dealing with his management company to handle the divorce. Red Light also controlled the finances. So when Alexa needed money or whatever, she would have to go to Red Light to get money from Mike. They were kind of like the mediator, yet they didn't really need a mediator. And the mediator was like one-sided because they literally represent Mike. So they obviously are going to pick everything in his best interest. At one point, Alexa expressed a desire to hire an attorney for this divorce, but Mike threatened to put her on the streets with nothing. Every time Alexa suggested they hire an attorney, Mike lashed out, accusing her of threatening him solely by suggesting that they used experienced attorneys rather than Red Light's hand-picked mediators. So Alexa wanted real attorneys to have a real divorce, but Red Light insisted on having their people handle it. And this is where she starts to call out the charges that they're bringing to the judge. And pretty much they want to prove to the judge that this was a fraudulent marriage. They also want them to recognize that Mike continued to harm Alexa physically. Like, what he did to her was not okay. He pushed it too far, he manipulated her, and he primed her from a young teenager into this woman to be his wife and to fulfill his sick desires. The charges come out to sexual battery, hopefully I can say that, we'll see, gender violence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and violation of California's Tom Bain Civil Rights Act. Because her rights were ultimately violated through this marriage and through this divorce, because Red Light really did everything in their power to make this the best divorce for Mike and to screw over Alexa. This declaration is another look at what Alexa went through and how disgusting Mike Milosh from Rye is. And everyone should be aware of this man because there's a lot coming out about him. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I applaud Alexa for sharing this. It is so hard. It is so vulnerable. This is trauma that she's still like processing and coping with. So the fact that she's making this public and posting it on socials and talking about it, like, I would love to talk to her about like this stuff on my channel once she, you know, they go through the legal situation, but it is so powerful and no one can take that away from you, Alexa. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know a lot of other people are thankful as well. I actually do have some clips of Alexa and I from our interview where we talk about Dan Schneider, and I'm thinking about posting that sometime in the next week or so, you know, make a video where we talk about some people who have spoken about Dan Schneider and what he's done to them. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I want to go ahead and open a little letter or something. Oh my gosh. So this letter is from Rihanna, and it looks like they're from the middle of the country. Don't want to like say your state or anything unless you say it in your letter, but let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So yeah, if you guys want that video with the Dan Schneider, let me know. Oh, so cute. Dear Sloan, hi, how are you? My name is Rihanna, and I just subscribed to your YouTube channel. I've been watching your videos lately, and I really like them. I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Oh, this is an old one. I hope we can meet someday. Sincerely, Rihanna. Oh, so sweet. I love that. Thank you guys so much. I'll be opening more P.O. Box package items soon. They're still shipping from my other place. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.